Hey guys, my name is Octoman and today I want to show you how to create some particle effects with some rotating stars and some stripes going out from the center. I'm going to demonstrate that pretty quick. What you need is just some graphic you can use for those stars, and the coloring is going to be done by script or actually by the particle system. So, I disabled this one, so let me there it is. So this is what it will look in the end. It may lag for you, so I'm going to decrease the simulation speed to 0.20. And there you can see, this is the effect we are going to do right now. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to create a prefab out of this and create a new one. So just take this one and place it in here, and then I'm going to delete this. Okay, what we want or what you need is the star itself, and the star can be or will be just white, and you can't use any other form you need. So you can use stars with 5 or with 6 or whichever or whatever amount of spikes you need on that stars, rounded or not, and you can create those stars in any free or not free software like Photoshop, GIMP, and maybe also can use Paint if you need to. If you have some gradient inside, or actually some alpha channel, then you can use this for some more effects, but basically I'm going to do it with some hard edge so you can see this one better. So actually let's get started with the particle itself. It's pretty simple. At first I'm going to create a particle system, and my simulation playback speed is going to be 1. So this is the basic particle effect you're getting once you're creating a particle system. What we want is, or what I want is, I want an explosion, basically an emitting from the center to all sides randomly. How can I achieve this? At first I go to shape, and instead of using the cone, since I just need a 2D plane actually, or a 2D animation in 2 directions, not in the y-axis, I'm going to use a circle for this one. And now you can see the circle is flat on the ground. So what I want to do next is I just go over and rotate this one over here to 0. So this is facing the camera and doing the circular stuff. But since it's not what I want to have a push once in a while, once in a while. So I go to the emission tab, and over here I can change the time to distance, or I can just leave the time alone and do the rate to 0. Under that is a burst, and I want one burst after a given amount of time, which is after the duration. So I'm going to decrease the duration to maybe 1. And now you can see every second I get one burst of 30 particles. Since the lifetime is too big, I decrease the lifetime to maybe 1. So the duration is 1 and the lifetime is 1. So after it's 1, all that particles are going to get destroyed, and I can decrease or increase the speed later on. So the next thing is I want the right shape, and now I can go and take that particle, which is basically, if you import anything, it's going to be just a texture. So go over to your texture and change it to sprite 2D UI and choose sprite mode single. If you have an animated sprite, then go over and say multiply. I think it is multiple. If not, then you need to change this one in the particle system too. So the next thing is I need a material for this. So just create a material which is over here material, which is just default, and name it particle system or stars or whatever. And in the albedo, you're going to take your for me is it called particle 5-star round, and select this one in here. So it's let me do that once again. There we go. So the material should, it does not. Oh yeah, and the next thing in that material is, in standard shader you need to choose particles and then use alpha blended. You can also use any other, but alpha blended is that you have no alpha, or actually you have an alpha channel and you only see the pure white star. If you have, as I said before, some shading inside or some more alpha values inside, this will also work. So you can soften the edges of the star. So with that done, the material is okay. I'm going to delete this one since I have my particle over here already. You can also see the preview over there as a star. And tiling is 1 by 1 since we have no animated material. Okay, back to the particle system. I go down to the renderer, and in here we have the possibility to drag in the material as a material. And now you can see it's emitting stars instead of the default circles. So pretty nicely looking actually. So it does the random stuff already, and also it does the billboarding. As you can see, when I rotate here, the stars will always look to the camera, to the viewer. So no matter of what direction is, it will always billboard to the camera if you select that render mode in here. You can also use some others like stretching, and you can also emit meshes of your type or whatever you like. And this is for now pretty much it. You can also say I don't want that to receive shadows because this is going to be cost intense for everything, and your CPU and GPU will, basically the GPU needs to render shadows on the stars and all the whole particle system, and you don't want that. Also, you don't need blend probes for this. If you really need that one, then you may want to use them, but I would say deactivate that to save some CPU time and stuff. Everything else, you can sort this stuff by youngest, oldest, and so on in front, but it doesn't really matter for our randomness in here. And that's basically it. You can also use a sort layer for this, but it's not really needed for us at the moment. Okay, so now I have white stars emitting from the center of the circle and going outwards. The next thing is I want to change the color. So I go to Start Color and choose on the right side Random between two colors. The first color I'm going to use is maybe some yellow. So you can see right now it's emitting all colors between the brightest yellow and white. And the second color can be anything. I'm going to choose red. So I have some orange types in between. So this looks pretty nice, and it is cartoonish. The next thing is I want to rotate those stars over time. So I scroll down a bit once again and see where rotation is over lifetime. I'm going to select this one. Now it's already rotating a bit, but I want to rotate it more, maybe like 270 degrees. Now you can see all of them are rotating by 270 degrees over lifetime, so the whole time. The next thing is I want a different size of each star when it is going to get emitted. So they start in a different size. So the start size can be 0.5. Let's see where it is. I'm gonna take this. I think this could be this one. No, not over lifetime. I want the size of the whole time. Give me just a second. Okay. if you are going to the start size, on the far right there's another small arrow. You can click and choose a curve, or you can also use a random between two constants or two curves. I'm going to use two constants, and this is the size between 0 and 1, and this is not what I want. I want at least 0.5 and 1. So I'm going to decrease the duration. As you can see, it's really nice. Several different sizes. So pretty cool. The next thing is I want that stars to emit another particle system as a children, or actually as a sub-emitter, that's what it's called, and want that one to make the spikes outside. So I need to create a new particle system and add this one as a sub-emitter after the birth of every star. So I go in here, create a new particle system by right clicking. As you can see, it is already the same. I'm going to go to only this one, and this is pretty easy too. So at first I go into the shape. The cone shape is okay. I can also disable the shape, so I will have a pure stream of dots or of particles. I can also say I don't want that to be like that. I want to still use the cone. Then I just need to decrease the angle to 0. So there is nothing else. And I need to decrease the size to be 0.01, and I would have the stream too. So as you can see, it doesn't really matter. The emitting is about the same. So, and also we want to go from the base, from the emitting base. The next thing is I need some more particle systems, or actually some more particles that I don't have those gaps between the particles itself. So I go and increase the emission rate a bit, maybe like 25, 24 or 25. The next thing is I want that to fade out at the spike, or actually at the end of the particle. So I go to the color and change that color, not the right one, to be no, it's not. Yeah, it should be color. Give me a sec. Where is it? I'm missing something. Oh yeah, it needs to be color over lifetime, which is that one. Then you click on that white bar in here, and over there you have on the top you have an alpha channel or an alpha value. Decrease this one to 0 and you will see that you have a nice stream from full color to no color over the time. So the next thing is this spike is too long, so I need to decrease the lifetime and the duration. So maybe also at first to 1, the lifetime to 1, so it's a bit smaller in here. And I can also decrease the size maybe a bit. Yeah, need to change that stuff later on anyways. The start color might be also something yellowish, and it will fade out into anything. Maybe I'm going to use red this time for that. Okay, so like that, the sub-emitter is not affected to the stars, so I need to add that. For now, I will go over and drag this one under the particle system again, so it will be a children of that. So only if I create a particle system of that, those guys will emit it too, and I don't have to steer them separately. And the next thing is I go in the first with the stars and add that as the birth sub-emitter over there. And now you can see it emits, but it is too slow. So the second particle system, as you can see here, needs to be faster, I think. Okay, that's a bit too much. I'm going to decrease all the values over there just for testing. Oh, it's a bit too fast. Okay, so the lifetime needs to be a bit more. 0.71 and here 0.71. And there we go. Now the stars are basically emitting the stars emitting that splashes. If you don't want that stars to be emitted for that, then you need to change the particle system a bit, and you need to emit them again separately from the center. And yeah, this is what you can do also. I'm going to change this one to a bit lighter. Yeah. So basically this is how you set up the particle system, and you can also you can create a prefab out of that, as I have done before with my other particle system. And yeah, with a bit of fine-tuning it is looking about the same as that one. We can make stuff bigger and smaller the whole time, it doesn't really matter. And then it will look like that. So as you can see, this is faster, and since the stars are a bit bigger, the stripes are not that slow or that thick. So I go over and just increase the start size from 1 and 2 of that particle system. Or what do we have here? A size of 0.5 and 2. Also, sometimes it's a bit weird with the size, so you might want to make sure that it is at the right position, and then it looks better, or it's bigger than that. The stripes actually over here are really too thick, so I need to decrease the start size a bit and increase the stream. So I need to increase the rate, maybe like that. So now you can see with a higher rate, maybe until 300 or stuff, you can, or 75 is also enough, you can do some cool effect, when somebody is going to get hit or something like that. Okay, how can we just program or actually code that the particle system is only called when an action is done? So basically I'm going to do this with a mouse click, but you can also say wherever an enemy or a unit is going to get hit, then you can add that position, instantiate, or actually play the so at first you place the particle system and then you play the particle system, and that's what I want to go over right now. So let's start with some scripting. I'm going to create a C# script for this one. At first, of course, I need a folder for that. So particle effects, maybe like so. This is going to be just a basic script that so you can create which is calling the particle system on whichever object you are or whatever action you are going to do. The first important one is, since I only want to play this one once, I need to disable looping when I'm done with all of that, and I only want to play on awake, or actually no, not play on awake. I just want to play when the script says play this one. So disable looping and disable play awake. If I'm wrong, I need to enable this one once again. But basically this should be disabled, boss. So with that done, I'm going to do the actual scripting, and I use that particle system will be on any of your units which are going to get hit by whatever. So I create a new 3D game object, which is going to be a cube, which is my actual unit. Then gonna zero this one out, 0, 0, 0. You can also use a reset forms thing, and on that cube I want to add that particle system. So I can script the cube as a player or whatever. And when the player is going to get hit, then the particle system is going to get called. So in that particle effects, I'm going to create a new C# script and call this one particle hit. Basically, I go over and just use a mouse button for that. So or any button to emit that. I could also code a raycast, but I don't think this is necessary at the moment. So I just want to call the particle system at any time and outside of any function or inside of any function. If you're following my or have seen my health bar tutorials, then you can use the set health function to call the particle system for that. You just need to include what we are going to write right now. And the easiest way for that is at first we need the particle system to get called. This is not what we need. Particle hit, there we go. At first I don't need update. I just need start later on. Maybe also use awake or any of them. So at first we are going to create a new particle, where is it? Particle system, there it is. This component is needed and we call this one hit particles. You can also call this my particle system or whatever. So hit particles. So you can, this is basically this is going to be a private variable, so but you don't need to write that inside. And what we need is to get the component inside of the cube. So because the player cube, which is my player, will need to get into its children and take the particle system out of that. So I'm going to use awake instead of start. And in that awake function, we don't need this one, I need to look for that particle system. So what I want to go over is I say hit particles equals, and then I grab the component, get component in children. There we go, get component in children. And then I take the component's name and say particle system, which is over here. Particle system. There it is. And that's it, I think. No, the brackets are missing. So there we go. So we take the particle system inside of the children of our player cube. And once we got that one, we can say if something is happening, then we want to play the particle system. So we can say in the update function, maybe we can say, okay, when the mouse is clicked in the update function, then call another function, and this function is going to be called void play particle system or play particles. And basically, and basically what I'm going to do inside of that is I just take hit particles and say play this one. Play. Since it's not looping, it will stop over or after it is done with that. And yeah, that's pretty much it for that play particles. The next thing is if I take the update function again back, so I can just use an easy mouse click. So if input.get mouse button, if input dot get mouse button, or get button. Is it get button or is it button name? Let's try this one. I don't know. And I want button 1. I hope this is right. It's long ago I did something. It's a string button name. I don't know. Then just do something. Basically what I want to do in there is I want to call this function over there. Just play particles. Going to check this one. I'm not sure if this is working. If not, I'm going to get button string. I cannot. I don't know. Let me check this one for just a second. Okay, I was almost right. Instead of get button, I just have to use, I think, get mouse button 1. So this is how it should work right now. I'm going to save hit particle or particle hit and return to Unity and add the script to my player cube after it is done calculating all this stuff. So I just drag it over and it shouldn't play except this one, and once I click it should play the... it's not. Okay, let's say on awake. Nope, on awake is wrong. Oh, okay. It's one is the right mouse button, so the left mouse button is this one. And since I only want this one play once, I think I need to take get mouse button down. So only once clicking and then creating this one. So I click once and it's going to get emitted. So I can also click faster and more of them will be emitted. Okay, so every time you call that small script or basically that small function, you can basically call this from wherever you want. You can also call play particles in your damage system, as you may have seen in the health bar scripts. Let's check this one pretty quick. So if you are in that set health, you can just call this from there. So if I can use it from everywhere I want. So you can maybe also use the script directly on the particle system, but you'd also need to get the script component from outside, or basically from the player cube or the player or the character or whatever. So make sure that it is accessible from outside if you are going to do that like so. That's it. So with that done, you can create your own cool particle system or particle effect in some random directions with the billboard effect. The billboard basically is only working, as you can see, on the flat plane. That means in that circle. If you want to make an explosion with that one, then you don't stop, or you don't use an emitter with a curve like that circle I was using in here. So if you want to make fireworks or something like that, you may want to go over and use a sphere instead of a circle. So this is just for 2D stuff, or basically for 2D stuff, or a 2D effect if the camera is not changing in any way. So if you use a sphere instead and you play all of that things, then you will emit in every direction. As you can see, in every direction everything is going to get spawned, and also the billboard effect from the stars or for the stars is working pretty nicely. So this is everything I want to cover or wanted to cover, and yeah, if you like that video, just rate it up, thumb it up, subscribe to my channel if you like to, and yeah, feel free to donate to my channel. On the top right corner there is a small PayPal button where you have the possibility to do so. So that's it. See you in the next part. Bye bye.